Hello, and welcome to Office Hours. I'm Mike Stevenson, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs at Sam Houston State University. Thank you for joining me. One of the opportunities that I have as a provost is to elevate our faculty. I like to share the Sam story, particularly when I have the opportunity to talk about the outstanding experience our students get in the classroom with our faculty. Office Hours is an opportunity to showcase some of the best and the brightest teacher scholars right here on our campus. Today I'm visiting with Dr. Shyam Nair. Originally from India, Dr. Nair is Associate Professor of Agribusiness in the School of Ag Sciences at SAM. He joined Sam Houston State University in 2014 after completing his doctorate at Texas Tech University in Lubbock. Dr. Nair starts his 10th year of instruction at SAM this year. He served as an Assistant Research Scientist for Texas A&M AgriLife in Vernon, Texas, prior to coming to SAM. In terms of awards and accolades, Dr. Nair won the 2022 National Award for Excellence in college and university teaching in food and agricultural sciences from the USDA. He is also a recipient of the Faculty Excellence in Teaching and Research Award in the College of Science and Engineering Technology. Dr. Nair, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time. So you were a senior research fellow and an agriculture officer in India prior to your work at Texas Tech. So what led you into the classroom to teach in a university?
So before coming to the US, I worked for the second largest bank in India in ag lending. That's what I used to do in India. Then I got a scholarship to come over here at Texas Tech. Then during my PhD, I was fortunate to be in the classroom of such great teachers. They could distill like really complex ideas and convey them very effortlessly. So after looking at them and being in their classroom, I thought if I could be like at least half as good as them, then I can be a great teacher. So that's when I started thinking about teaching in a university setting. But as a postdoc at Texas Tech, I got a chance to teach a class, and instantly I got connected with the students, and I got really good evaluations. So I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
So what is it about teaching? What does a day in the classroom look like in Dr. Nair's class?
It depends. So I teach 3 classes. Although my basic teaching philosophy are the same, I fine-tune it based on what I'm teaching. So for example, if it is my Principles of Agricultural Economics class, every class starts with a question of the day. So for me, the conceptual clarity is important, but more important is the practical applications. So I use what we call Socratic teaching. We'll have something that happens in everyday life, then I'll ask students until they can connect that to an economic theory. For example, why newspaper vending machines and food vending machines, they are designed differently. Newspaper vending machine, you pay, it will open up, you can take a newspaper. But food vending machine, it won't open up, it just dispense one. Why? So when I ask this question, usually students come back and say that, oh, people are less likely to steal a newspaper. Then again, why? So I will continue asking this why question until they discover the concept of marginal utility. I don't know, it's economics, but until they get there, I can just lead them through. If it is my quantitative methods class, then it's different. There are a lot of in-class activities. I'm teaching them how to do a particular analysis using simplified data. Then what I do is I just walk around my department and ask for research data from other professors and give the students actual research data so they can practice and they can do the analysis and interpret the results.
Fascinating. That sounds interesting. And so the Socratic method, your students will be ready for a law school after one of your classes then, right? Exactly. We have Gen Z now, and they've grown up in a very tech-savvy world. How are you integrating technology into the classroom?
I do it in different ways. First of all, at the end of the last 10 minutes of my class is a real-time response quiz. So they use their cell phones, and I have a questions. I have usually 6 to 7 questions, and they can real time, I can see what percentage of them got it. So it's kind of a feedback for me to understand that did they get what I'm teaching. That's one use of technology. And other two classes, farm and ranch management and quantitative methods, there is a lot of analysis. So there we use Excel really heavily. So all the exams are actually open Excel exams. They take their exams with Excel, and students are really appreciative. They'll come back and they'll tell me that, okay, now I'm really proficient in Excel. That helps me in my career. So after they graduate, they'll come back and tell, okay, you taught me this, I'm now doing this every day. So that's rewarding to hear that.
What do you think are the top things that your students say they leave your class with that they didn't have when they first started your class?
So mostly they will understand multiple perspectives. So for everything, there are different perspectives. That in-class discussion, that's what I also learned from the students, because sometimes I get the perspective I never thought about. So they're actually really good. They can, because they have different experiences compared to me. So they come up with new perspectives. Then how to translate a theory into an application. So I tell them nowadays there is no need to a teacher. What's the need for a teacher nowadays? You can just Google everything, you can find the answer. But why do we need a teacher? So my response is, I'm making your life easier. I'm taking a really complex concept and breaking it down so that it will be easier for you to understand. So the students will gain this perspective. They will gain the ability to translate a theory to an application. And also they will learn a lot of soft skills like teamwork, communication. So I spend a lot of time explaining all this, and I also have these teams that where the student-to-student support is there.
Yeah, your students say you're a very hands-on teacher. What else does that look like in your classroom?
So I'll give you an example. For my quantitative methods class, I told you I use simplified data to teach them how to use those tools. Then I have actual data. So they use that data and then they will make research posters. Their final exam is a poster presentation. So that other faculty members and grad students they attend, they'll give them feedbacks and they will improve on that. And students have presented those posters on national conferences, and almost every time Sam Houston Undergraduate Research Symposium, they present their posters. So that's a really neat experience for the students also.
That's the thing I noted. They said that you had done over 300 students in undergraduate research out at Gibbs Ranch. Is that right?
Yeah, I have done undergraduate research with more than 300 students. Some of them is at Gibbs Ranch, and some of them is data from other faculty members. I do it in like two ways. One, most of my external grants, they have an education and an undergraduate research component. So that allows me to provide paid undergraduate research opportunities for the students. And it's easy to engage them because students really like hands-on when they are doing things in field. And also, I do it in a slightly different way. There will be like one large project. I will partition that project into 4 or 5 parts, and each student will be working on one part. Then we will have a regular meetings so that everybody gets that big picture. That's one way. Second way to engage undergraduate research is through my quantitative methods class. So every student will have a publication when they graduate.
Are they doing their own research project, or are you having them work on data from?
So usually I'm having them working on data from other faculty members because it's their option. They can, but mostly they'll come up with, they'll tell that, okay, if you have something, we'll work on that. So there also what I try to do is I'll have a theme, and based on that theme, each student teams will be working on one aspect of that theme. So once all these, usually I'll have 6 teams from 4 to 6 members. So when they put everything together, then they'll get the entire picture. Although they are, because within this one semester, they cannot do a really complex project. But once they do parts and put them together, they get the big picture. That's really helpful.
I like to ask the same question to close for everyone. What is one thing that the SAM students have taught you?
As I told you, perspective. So every time I have a discussion in my class, I tell my students, I'm actually learning by teaching. Every time I teach, I'm learning. So it's really interesting. I sometimes go back and look at my PowerPoint slides I used like 4 or 5 years back. It's hugely different because our students bring in these new perspectives, then I can explain from that particular perspective. Then their feedback, that keeps me motivated, and that also allows me to use different teaching styles, different tools, and they really make me a better teacher.
Dr. Shyam Nair, thank you so much for your time, all you do for SAM. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very
And
much.
thank you all for joining us as well. That concludes today's office hours. Thanks for joining us.